The Vikings, fierce Nordic warriors shrouded in myths and legends. But did they really wear horned helmets? Today we embark on a journey through history to separate fact from fiction and unveil the true face of the Vikings. It's a common sight in popular culture, these fearsome seafarers depicted with towering horned helmets, a symbol of their supposed brutality and prowess. But is there any truth to this image, or is it merely a fabrication, a figment of creative imagination? As we delve into the annals of history and archaeology, we'll discover that the reality is far more complex and intriguing than the stereotype suggests. So brace yourselves, history buffs and curious minds, as we debunk one of the most enduring myths about the Vikings. Stay tuned as we dive into the origins and implications of this enduring myth. From epic sagas on screen to detailed illustrations in books, the horned helmet has become synonymous with Vikings. Everywhere we turn, from Hollywood blockbusters to comic strips, this image confronts us. But how did a piece of headgear, one that seems more fantasy than fact, become so deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness? Well, it turns out that the horned helmet is a product of creative imagination, not historical documentation. In the 19th century, a time when romanticism was sweeping across Europe, artists and playwrights were drawn to the exciting and exotic. The Vikings, with their reputation for fearsome exploits and voyages to unknown lands, were an irresistible source of inspiration. But these artists weren't historians. Their goal wasn't to accurately represent the past, but to create compelling stories and striking images. And what could be more dramatic, more awe-inspiring than a Viking warrior towering over the battlefield, a horned helmet on his head? It was a picture that captured the imagination, that thrilled audiences, and so it stuck. Yet, this iconic image originated not from historical records, but from 19th century artists and playwrights, aiming to capture the imagination rather than historical accuracy. And thus, a myth was born, one that continues to shape our perception of the Vikings to this day. Turning to the annals of history, we find no evidence of horned helmets in Viking gear. The pages of history are not adorned with illustrations of horned warriors, nor do ancient texts describe Viking fighters with such unique headgear. This image, so ingrained in our collective consciousness, is conspicuously absent from historical records. When we dig a little deeper, literally, we find the same story. Archaeologists, those tireless detectives of the past, have unearthed numerous Viking helmets from the soil of Scandinavia and the lands where Vikings roamed. Yet, not a single one features the mythical horns. Instead, the helmets are round or conical, crafted from iron or hardened leather, sometimes reinforced with strips of metal. They were designed to deflect blows from swords, axes, and arrows, not to dazzle with dramatic embellishments. In fact, the idea of a horned helmet in battle seems rather impractical. Horns would add unnecessary weight and could potentially give an opponent something to grab onto, a disadvantage in the heat of combat. The Viking warriors were pragmatic fighters, their equipment meticulously designed for the rigors of battle, emphasizing protection over style. It's also worth noting that the Vikings were seafarers, often traveling long distances in their distinctive longships. Space on board was limited, and each item had to justify its place. It's hard to imagine these practical voyagers allocating precious space to bulky horned helmets that offered no real advantage. So if the horned helmets weren't part of the Viking warriors' arsenal, where did they come from? The answer lies not in the field of battle, but in the realm of art and imagination, as we'll discover in our next segment. Instead, they were practical, designed for the rigors of battle, emphasizing protection over style. So how did the myth arise? It's a blend of artistic liberty and misinterpretation. When we delve into the origins of the horned helmet myth, we unearth a fascinating tale. This iconic image didn't emerge from the Viking era, but centuries later, born out of a confusion between Viking warriors and other ancient figures depicted with horned headgear. Early historians, when studying Old Norse carvings and ceremonial artifacts, misinterpreted some of the symbols and designs. They saw figures with horned headgear and assumed they were Vikings. In reality, these figures were often gods, not mortal warriors, and their horns were symbolic, not literal. Adding to this, the 19th century was a time of romanticism, where the past was often idealized and exaggerated. Artists and playwrights, inspired by these misinterpretations, began to depict Vikings with horned helmets. They were crafting a narrative, a spectacle, rather than a historically accurate representation. Their works were widely popular, and the image of the horned Viking became ingrained in the public consciousness. And so a myth was born, perpetuated through generations, surviving in our popular culture, in our movies, books, and artworks. But it's worth noting that this isn't a tale of deception. It's a testament to the power of storytelling, to the ability of art to shape our perception of the past. Additionally, the Romanticism of the 19th century played a significant role in cementing the horned helmet in popular culture. This myth has not only shaped our perception of Vikings, but also influenced how history is portrayed in media and art. The horned helmet, a symbol of ferocity and raw power, has become a shorthand for the Vikings, a visual cue that immediately evokes a world of longships, fierce warriors, and epic sagas. Yet this image is a fabrication, a testament to the power of myth and the allure of the exotic. In truth, the Vikings were more than just warriors. They were explorers, traders, and settlers, a complex society with a rich cultural tapestry. Yet the horned helmet myth has eclipsed these facets of Viking history, reducing a complex culture to a single, simplistic image. This is a potent reminder of the influence of imagery and narrative in shaping our understanding of the past. We are drawn to stories that capture our imagination, to images that stir our emotions. The horned helmet does both, and so it has endured a powerful symbol born from a myth. The impact of this myth extends beyond the Vikings. It underscores the role of storytelling in history, how narratives can shape our perception of cultures and eras. It is a reminder that history is not just a collection of facts, but a tapestry of stories, woven together to create a picture of the past. It speaks volumes about the power of imagery and storytelling in crafting our understanding of the past. Beyond the myths, the Vikings were skilled navigators, traders, and poets. These seafaring warriors hailing from the Nordic lands ventured far and wide, their voyages reaching as far as North America, well before Columbus set sail. Their longships, masterpieces of maritime technology, propelled them across the tumultuous seas, forging connections between disparate cultures. As traders, the Vikings were instrumental in establishing a global network of commerce. They traded goods from the far corners of the known world, from the silks of Byzantium to the spices of the East, fostering cultural exchange and economic development. Moreover, the Vikings were not just warriors and traders, but also poets and lawmakers. They valued the power of the spoken word, their oral traditions weaving tales of gods and heroes that still echo today. Their legal systems, often overlooked, were surprisingly advanced, with a strong emphasis on communal decision-making and justice. The Viking culture was rich and varied, a tapestry of art, lore, and innovation. Their society was structured and sophisticated, with a keen appreciation for craftsmanship, evident in their intricate carvings and metalwork. Their real contributions to history, from exploration to settlement and cultural exchange, are far more compelling than any fictionalized helmet. So the next time you envision a Viking, remember the navigator charting unexplored seas, the trader connecting worlds, and the poet spinning sagas under the northern lights. And let's appreciate the true legacy of the Vikings. Myths like the horned helmet serve as a reminder of how history can be shaped by culture and imagination. They are more than just tales spun by our ancestors or fanciful depictions in popular culture. Myths are powerful narratives that shape our perception of the world and our place in it. They weave together elements of truth and fiction, creating a rich tapestry that reflects our deepest fears, aspirations, and values. When we take the time to delve into these stories, to question their origins and their validity, we are doing more than just fact-checking. We are engaging in a dialogue with our past, seeking to understand the complex and often contradictory nature of human history. This process of inquiry and discovery is crucial, for it allows us to challenge stereotypes, to rethink accepted truths, and to build a more nuanced understanding of our world. They invite us to look deeper, beyond the stereotypes to appreciate the rich tapestry of our shared past. In dispelling the myth of the horned Viking helmet, we uncover a story far richer and more fascinating than fiction. We've journeyed through history, from the romanticized images of the 19th century to the authentic artifacts of the Viking era. We've seen how myths can arise from misinterpretations and how they can take hold in our collective imagination, but we've also discovered that the truth often is far more compelling. The real Vikings, unencumbered by horned helmets, were complex and multifaceted, leaving behind a legacy that continues to intrigue us today. In challenging these myths, we don't just correct historical inaccuracies, we gain a deeper appreciation for our shared human story. The Vikings' legacy, unadorned by mythical horns, remains a testament to their enduring impact on history. What other myths do you want us to unravel? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep seeking the truth.